Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that the most powerful force shaping your destiny is not your talents, not your education, and not even your circumstances, but your emotions? Yes, your emotions. They are the silent architects of your future, the unseen energy behind every action you take, and the invisible glue that holds your relationships, your career, and your dreams together. Think about it. How many decisions have you made in life that were purely based on reason? How many of your triumphs and failures were a result of cold, hard logic alone? Probably very few. Why? Because emotions are always at the center of every choice. They pull the strings of our desires, fuel our passions, and shape our reactions in ways that we may not even recognize. But here's the question: if emotions have that much power over our lives, do we control them, or do they control us? Emotions are the driving force behind every decision we make, whether we are conscious of it or not. This fact is often overlooked because many people believe that logic and reason are the primary factors that guide their choices. However, research in psychology and neuroscience has shown that emotions play a far more significant role in decision making than we might think. They are not mere byproducts of our experiences, rather they are the essential fuel that powers our ability to make decisions, act on them, and navigate the complexities of life. At the core of every decision, whether it's as simple as what to eat for breakfast or as complex as choosing a career, emotions are at work. Even when we tell ourselves that we are making a choice based solely on facts and figures, it's often an emotional response that tips the scales. For instance, two candidates might have the same qualifications for a job, but it's the one who emotionally connects with the interviewer that often gets hired. This is because emotions create a sense of trust, familiarity, and confidence that cannot be achieved through data alone. Emotions drive decisions in ways that we may not consciously recognize. One reason is that emotions are directly linked to our survival instincts. Throughout history, humans have evolved to rely on emotions as indicators of what is safe, dangerous, desirable, or undesirable. Fear, for example, triggers a fight or flight response, prompting us to make immediate decisions to protect ourselves from danger. Love and affection create bonds between people, encouraging social cooperation and unity. Joy signals satisfaction, urging us to repeat behaviors that bring happiness. Emotions are wired into the deepest parts of our brain, particularly the limbic system, which processes emotional stimuli faster than our rational mind can analyze them. This emotional processing is why we often hear people talk about gut feelings or intuition in many situations. We make quick decisions based on how we feel about a situation rather than on a calculated analysis of the facts. These gut feelings are the brain's way of synthesizing emotional data quickly to guide our choices. They are not irrational, they are just faster. And although these decisions may not always be perfect, they are often more effective in environments that require rapid action or adaptation. Emotions serve as the motivation behind our actions. Motivation itself is an emotional desire to move towards something. When we feel passionate about a goal, when we feel inspired by a vision, when we are driven by a sense of purpose, it is our emotions that propel us forward. Logic alone cannot sustain long-term effort. A person may logically understand the benefits of exercise or healthy eating, but without an emotional connection to the benefits, such as the joy of feeling strong, the pride in achieving a fitness goal, or the fear of illness, the logical reasoning will rarely translate into consistent action. Even in the realm of problem solving and creative thinking, emotions play an essential role. Creativity, often seen as a purely cognitive process, is deeply rooted in emotional experience. People who are emotionally engaged with a problem tend to come up with more innovative solutions. Emotions spark curiosity, inspire exploration, and encourage risk-taking, all of which are necessary for creativity and problem solving. When we are emotionally invested in finding an answer, we are more likely to think outside the box, push through challenges, and keep going even when the path isn't clear. Emotions influence the way we perceive the outcomes of our decisions. Two people can experience the same event, but interpret it in entirely different ways based on their emotional state. For example, a business venture that doesn't yield immediate profits might be seen as a failure by someone feeling discouraged, while another person might view it as a learning experience filled with future potential. Emotions color our perception of success and failure guiding us toward different interpretations of the same situation. These emotional perceptions, in turn, shape our future decisions, creating a feedback loop where emotions continue to influence not only our current choices but also our future outlook. It's also important to recognize that emotions are contagious. We are influenced by the emotions of those around us, and this plays a crucial role in decision making, especially in social or collaborative settings. Studies have shown that when people are exposed to positive emotions, they are more likely to make decisions that favor collaboration and trust. On the other hand, exposure to negative emotions such as fear or anger can lead to decisions rooted in self-preservation, mistrust, or aggression. This is why leaders who can manage and influence the emotional climate of a group have a significant impact on the decisions and behaviors of the teams. In high-pressure environments, such as business negotiations or emergency situations, emotions can make or break a decision. Leaders who can remain calm and composed under pressure often make better decisions because they are able to manage their emotions and think more clearly. On the other hand, those who let fear or frustration take over may rush into poor choices. This is not to say that emotions should be suppressed, far from it. The goal is not to ignore emotions, but to understand and regulate them. When emotions are properly managed, they become powerful allies in decision-making, providing clarity, energy, and focus. Emotions also give meaning to our decisions. Without emotion, decisions would feel hollow and mechanical. Emotions give us a sense of purpose and fulfillment in our choices, which is why people often say they want to make decisions that feel right. Whether it's choosing a career, forming a relationship, or pursuing a dream, emotions are what give our decisions depth and significance. They connect us to our values and help us align our actions with our deeper sense of identity and purpose. In conclusion, emotions are far more than fleeting feelings. They are the invisible drivers behind every decision we make. Understanding the role emotions play in decision making is key to mastering our lives. By recognizing how emotions guide us, we can harness their power, align them with our goals, and make decisions that not only serve our intellect but also fulfill our emotional needs and aspirations. Emotions shape our reality in profound ways, influencing not only how we see the world but also how we experience and interact with it. Whether we are aware of it or not, the emotions we feel on a daily basis color every aspect of our lives, from our perception of events to the quality of our relationships and even our sense of self. Emotions are more than just internal reactions to external stimuli. They are the lens through which we interpret our experiences. Understanding the power of emotions in shaping reality is crucial to gaining greater control over our lives, as our emotional state has a direct impact on the outcomes we experience. At a fundamental level, emotions are the bridge between our inner world and the outer world. They serve as filters that influence how we perceive reality. For example, if someone is feeling anxious, even a neutral situation might seem threatening or overwhelming. Conversely, when a person is in a state of joy or contentment, challenges might be viewed as opportunities rather than obstacles. In this way, emotions not only affect our immediate reactions but also our long-term perspectives. The same event can be experienced very differently depending on the emotional state of the person involved. It is not the event itself that defines our reality, it is our emotional response to it. This emotional filtering happens constantly, often without our conscious awareness. Every interaction, conversation, and decision we make is processed through the emotional state we are in at that moment. For example, if you are in a good mood, you might overlook minor inconveniences or irritations. But if you are in a bad mood, those same minor issues might seem insurmountable. This is why two people can go through the same situation but walk away with completely different interpretations of what happened. Our emotions don't just react to reality, they shape our version of it. Emotions have a significant influence on the stories we tell ourselves about who we are and what we are capable of. If you frequently feel confident and empowered, you are more likely to approach challenges with a sense of capability and determination. On the other hand, if you are often consumed by fear, self-doubt, or anxiety, your perception of yourself becomes more limited, and you may avoid opportunities or challenges that could lead to growth. Over time, these emotional patterns become self-reinforcing. Positive emotions build a mindset of growth and possibility, while negative emotions can create a mindset of limitation and avoidance. Emotions also shape our reality by influencing our interactions with others. Human relationships are deeply rooted in emotional exchange. Whether we are aware of it or not, we are constantly picking up on the emotional signals of those around us and responding to them. If you're feeling angry or frustrated, your tone, body language, and overall energy will likely influence how others respond to you. This can create a cycle where your emotions elicit similar emotions from others, reinforcing the emotional environment you are in. For example, anger often begets more anger, while kindness and warmth can inspire others to be more compassionate and open. In leadership or social influence, the emotional climate you create has a powerful effect on the group dynamic. Leaders who project positivity, confidence, and emotional stability tend to inspire those same qualities in their teams. On the other hand, leaders who operate from fear, stress, or frustration can create environments where those emotions dominate, leading to reduced morale, lower productivity, and even conflict. The reality of the workplace or social group is shaped largely by the emotional tone set by those in leadership positions. Another critical aspect of how emotions shape reality is their effect on decision making. Emotions often guide our choices in subtle but significant ways. When we feel positive emotions like excitement, hope, or enthusiasm, we are more likely to take risks, pursue new opportunities, and remain persistent in the face of setbacks. On the other hand, when we are driven by negative emotions such as fear, doubt, or frustration, we may hesitate, avoid challenges, or give up too soon. The emotional state we are in when we make decisions can have long-term consequences, setting the course for our future reality. This influence of emotions on decision-making also extends to how we interpret our successes and failures. When we experience failure while in a negative emotional state, we are more likely to internalize it as a reflection of our personal worth or ability. This can lead to a cycle of self-defeating thoughts and behaviors. However, if we approach failure from a place of resilience and optimism, we are more likely to see it as a learning experience, an opportunity for growth, rather than a dead end. Our emotional state at any given moment can determine whether we view an experience as a stepping stone or a setback. Emotions not only shape how we perceive reality, but also how we create it. The actions we take in life are largely driven by how we feel. When we are emotionally energized, we are more motivated, productive, and creative. Emotions fuel our passions, sustain our focus, and give us the perseverance to keep going when things get tough. When emotions are aligned with our goals, they can propel us forward in ways that pure logic or willpower alone cannot achieve. The most successful people in life are not just those with the best ideas or the most resources, but those who can harness their emotions to create the energy and momentum needed to achieve their vision. Emotions are closely tied to our sense of fulfillment and meaning. A life filled with positive emotional experiences is often seen as a rich and rewarding one, even if it is not without challenges. On the other hand, a life dominated by negative emotions, even in the presence of success or material wealth, can feel empty or unfulfilling. This is why emotional well-being is such an important aspect of overall life satisfaction. Our emotional landscape defines the quality of our daily experience, which in turn shapes our perception of reality. Emotions play a central role in shaping our reality, influencing everything from how we perceive the world to how we interact with it, and ultimately how we create our future. Our emotional state determines the lens through which we interpret experiences, influences our decisions, and impacts our relationships with others. By understanding and managing our emotions, we can gain greater control over our reality, leading to a more fulfilling and meaningful life. The power of emotions is not just in how they make us feel, but in how they shape the reality we live in. Emotions have a profound impact on our relationships, acting as both the glue that binds us to others and at times the force that can drive us apart. Our ability to navigate emotional dynamics in relationships directly influences the depth, quality, and longevity of our connections with others. Whether it's romantic relationships, friendships, family ties, or professional interactions, emotions shape how we communicate, understand, and relate to one another. This emotional landscape forms the foundation of human interaction, and understanding it is key to cultivating meaningful and lasting bonds. At the heart of every relationship is emotional connection. We are emotional beings by nature, and our need to connect with others is deeply rooted in our emotions. From the earliest stages of life, humans are wired to seek out emotional bonds. Babies, for example, instinctively cry to express their needs and form attachments with their caregivers. As we grow older, this need for emotional connection evolves but remains central to our social interactions. We form friendships, romantic partnerships, and even professional alliances based on emotional resonance, how someone makes us feel and how we make them feel in return. Emotions serve as the invisible language in relationships, often communicating more than words ever could. For instance, body language, tone of voice, and facial expressions all convey emotional information that words might fail to express. A person can say they are fine, but their facial expression or body posture may reveal feelings of frustration, sadness, or anger. This unspoken emotional communication is what often determines the success or failure of an interaction. When we are attuned to the emotions of others, we can respond in ways that build trust, empathy, and connection. Conversely, when we ignore or misinterpret emotional cues, misunderstandings and conflicts arise. Empathy, one of the most critical components of emotional intelligence, plays a vital role in fostering healthy relationships. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person. It allows us to step into someone else's emotional world and see things from their perspective. In relationships, this ability to empathize is crucial because it helps us respond to others with care and sensitivity. When someone feels understood and validated, they are more likely to trust and open up, deepening the emotional bond. On the other hand, a lack of empathy can create emotional distance, leaving people feeling unheard or dismissed. Trust is another cornerstone of relationships that is deeply intertwined with emotions. Trust is built on the consistent experience of emotional safety, knowing that someone will respond to you with kindness, understanding, and respect. When trust is broken, it is often because of an emotional betrayal, such as dishonesty, manipulation, or neglect. These emotional breaches can be incredibly painful because they strike at the core of our need for emotional security. Once trust is damaged, it can be challenging to rebuild because emotions like fear, suspicion, and hurt come to the forefront, making it difficult to restore the emotional connection. Conflict in relationships is inevitable, but how we manage those conflicts is largely determined by our emotional responses. Emotions such as anger, frustration, or hurt often drive conflicts, but they also hold the key to resolving them. When emotions are left unchecked, they can escalate disagreements, leading to arguments, resentment, and further disconnection. However, when we become aware of our emotional triggers and learn to express them constructively, conflict can become an opportunity for growth. Healthy emotional communication during conflict involves expressing feelings honestly while remaining open to understanding the emotions of the other person. This approach not only resolves the issue at hand, but also strengthens the relationship by reinforcing emotional trust and understanding. In romantic relationships, emotions are even more heightened. Love, passion, joy, and intimacy are deeply emotional experiences that bring couples together, while emotions like jealousy, fear, and insecurity can cause tension and distance. The emotional highs and lows of romantic relationships often reflect the depth of connection between partners. When both partners are emotionally attuned to one another, the relationship tends to thrive. They can communicate openly, support each other through challenges, and create a sense of emotional safety and trust. However, when emotions are mismanaged or suppressed, they can lead to emotional disconnection, misunderstandings, and ultimately the breakdown of the relationship. Emotional vulnerability is a key factor in the success of intimate relationships. Vulnerability involves being open about your true feelings, even when it feels uncomfortable or risky. It requires a level of emotional honesty that can be difficult to maintain, especially in a society that often values emotional self-control and stoicism. Yet, vulnerability is what allows partners to connect on a deeper level. When we are vulnerable with someone, we invite them into our emotional world, which fosters intimacy and trust. Without vulnerability, relationships remain surface level, lacking the emotional depth that sustains long-term connections. Friendships, too, are built on emotional connections. Good friends are those who provide emotional support, understanding, and companionship. Friendships allow us to share our joys and struggles with others who care about us. These relationships thrive when there is an emotional give and take, when friends feel free to express their emotions and know they will be met with empathy and understanding. However, friendships can also falter when emotional needs go unmet or when emotional boundaries are crossed. For example, if one friend consistently dominates the emotional space, leaving little room for the other's feelings, resentment can build, leading to emotional disengagement. In the professional realm, emotions play a more subtle but equally important role. While many people believe that the workplace should be devoid of emotions, the reality is that emotions are present in every interaction. Emotional intelligence, the ability to recognize and manage emotions, is increasingly recognized as a critical skill in professional success. Leaders who are emotionally intelligent are better able to inspire, motivate, and connect with their teams. They understand that emotions such as trust, respect, and enthusiasm are vital to creating a positive and productive work environment. On the other hand, unchecked emotions like stress, frustration, or anger can lead to a toxic work culture, reduce morale, and lower productivity. In familiar relationships, emotions are perhaps the most complex. Families often carry emotional histories that shape current dynamics. For example, unresolved emotional wounds from childhood can affect how individuals interact with their parents or siblings as adults. Emotions such as love, loyalty, guilt, and responsibility are common in family relationships and can both strengthen and strain these bonds. Healthy family relationships involve emotional openness, respect, and the ability to navigate complex emotions with care and understanding. Emotions are the foundation of all human relationships. They guide how we connect, communicate, and care for one another. When we understand the emotional dynamics at play, we can build stronger, more meaningful relationships. Whether it's through empathy, vulnerability, emotional intelligence, or managing conflict, emotions are the key to creating lasting connections. By cultivating emotional awareness and emotional skills, we can enhance the quality of our relationships and experience deeper, more fulfilling connections with those around us. Emotions are the primary drivers of human decision-making, influencing our thoughts, behaviors, and choices in profound ways. While we often like to think of ourselves as rational beings, making decisions based on logic and reason, the reality is that emotions play a dominant role in shaping our judgments. From small, everyday decisions to life-changing choices, our emotions serve as a compass that guides our actions, often without us even realizing it. Understanding how emotions influence decision-making is crucial, as it allows us to make more conscious, thoughtful choices and navigate our lives with greater awareness. At the core of emotional decision-making is the way emotions serve as internal signals. When we experience a strong emotion, it's our brain's way of alerting us to something important. For example, fear signals danger, prompting us to take protective action. Happiness signals that something is beneficial, motivating us to pursue similar experiences in the future. Sadness may indicate that we've lost something of value, urging us to reflect or seek comfort. These emotional signals are deeply tied to our survival instincts, which is why emotions often override logical thinking, especially in high-stakes or urgent situations. Our brains are wired to prioritize emotional responses because, in evolutionary terms, they've helped us stay alive. The influence of emotions on decision-making extends far beyond basic survival. Emotions shape the way we evaluate choices, influencing our preferences and judgments even when the stakes are not life or death. For instance, when deciding between two options such as choosing a job offer, a place to live, or even a meal, our emotional response to each option plays a significant role in the final decision. Often, we choose what feels right, even if we can't fully explain the logic behind it. This emotional intuition is the result of our brain processing a vast array of information, much of it unconsciously, and distilling it into a feeling that guides our choice. One of the key ways emotions influence decision-making is through the concept of effective forecasting. This refers to our ability to predict how we will feel in the future based on the choices we make today. For example, when deciding whether to take a new job, move to a different city, or end a relationship, we often project how we will feel as a result of that decision. We ask ourselves, will this make me happy? Or will I regret this later? These emotional forecasts shape the decisions we make, as we tend to choose options that we believe will lead to positive emotions and avoid those that might cause negative emotions. However, effective forecasting is not always accurate. People often overestimate how much pleasure or pain a decision will bring, leading to choices that don't necessarily result in the expected emotional outcome. In addition to influencing individual decisions, emotions also play a powerful role in group decision making. Whether in a family setting, a workplace, or a social group, collective decisions are often swayed by the emotions of the people involved. Emotions such as fear, excitement, anxiety, or enthusiasm can spread through a group, creating an emotional climate that influences the final decision. For example, in a business meeting, the collective excitement about a new project might lead the team to overlook potential risks, while a shared sense of caution could prevent the group from taking necessary bold steps. Emotional contagion, the process by which emotions spread from one person to another, can thus shape group dynamics and the decisions that emerge from them. Emotions also affect decision making through the lens of motivation. Many of our decisions are driven by the desire to achieve positive emotional states or avoid negative ones. For example, people often make financial decisions based on their emotional relationship with money. Someone who feels anxious about money may be more conservative with their spending, avoiding risks even when opportunities for growth are present. On the other hand, someone who feels confident or even reckless about their financial situation might make riskier investments or overspend. In both cases, the emotional state of the individual drives their decision making, often more so than the actual facts or figures involved. The influence of emotions on decision making can also be seen in consumer behavior. Marketers and advertisers understand that appealing to emotions is far more effective than relying solely on logic or product features. This is why many advertisements focus on creating an emotional connection with the consumer, whether through stories of happiness, success, love, or fear. When consumers feel an emotional attachment to a brand or product, they are more likely to make a purchase, even if the logical reasons for doing so are unclear or secondary. Emotions such as nostalgia, excitement, or the fear of missing out FOMO often drive consumer decisions, demonstrating the powerful role emotions play in the marketplace. Another area where emotions significantly impact decision making is in the realm of risk assessment. Emotions such as fear, anxiety, or excitement can alter our perception of risk, leading us to make decisions that may not align with the actual level of danger or opportunity. For instance, fear of failure may cause someone to avoid taking a career risk, even if the potential rewards are great. Conversely, excitement about a new opportunity might cause someone to overlook potential downsides, leading to impulsive or poorly thought out decisions. Our emotional state at the time of decision making can either heighten or dampen our sense of risk, influencing whether we play it safe or take bold actions. Emotions influence how we evaluate past decisions, which in turn affects future choices. When we reflect on a past decision that led to a positive emotional outcome such as satisfaction, joy, or pride, we are more likely to make similar decisions in the future. This reinforcement of emotional memory creates patterns in our decision making as we are drawn toward choices that have historically made us feel good. Conversely, if a past decision resulted in negative emotions such as regret, guilt, or disappointment, we may avoid making similar choices, even if the context has changed and the original decision no longer applies. Our emotional memory acts as a filter through which we assess the options in front of us, shaping our future decisions based on how we felt in the past. Emotions can cloud our judgment, leading to biased or irrational decisions. When we are in the grip of strong emotions, whether positive or negative, our ability to think clearly can be compromised. For example, anger can lead to rash decisions, such as quitting a job or ending a relationship in the heat of the moment, without considering the long-term consequences. Similarly, joy or excitement can cause us to overlook potential downsides as we become overly focused on the immediate positive feelings. This is why it's often advised to sleep on it. Before making a major decision, as giving ourselves time to process our emotions can lead to more balanced, rational choices. Emotions are not just passive feelings that we experience, they are active drivers of our decisions. Whether we are aware of it or not, emotions influence every choice we make, from the smallest daily decisions to the most significant life changes. Understanding the role of emotions in decision making allows us to navigate our choices with greater awareness, helping us to strike a balance between emotional intuition and rational thinking. By acknowledging the power of emotions in shaping our decisions, we can make more informed, thoughtful choices that align with both our feelings and our long-term goals. The power of emotions to shape our personal relationships is immense, as they act as the unseen force that drives our interactions with others. Whether it's in our families, friendships, romantic partnerships, or professional relationships, emotions play a critical role in how we connect, communicate, and build bonds with those around us. Understanding the impact of emotions in relationships can help us cultivate healthier, more fulfilling connections, while ignoring them can lead to misunderstandings, conflict, and even the breakdown of relationships. Emotions serve as the glue that holds relationships together, influencing everything from the words we choose in conversations to the ways we handle conflict and express love or support. One of the primary ways emotions shape our relationships is through communication. Effective communication relies heavily on emotional awareness, both of our own feelings and the emotions of the other person. When we communicate, it's not just the words we use that matter. Our tone, body language, and emotional expression all convey meaning. For example, a simple phrase like "I'm fine" can carry vastly different meanings depending on the emotional context. If said with a frustrated tone and crossed arms, it may indicate anger or hurt, while a calm tone and relaxed posture might suggest contentment. Understanding these emotional cues is essential for successful communication in any relationship, as it allows us to respond appropriately to the other person's emotional state. In personal relationships, particularly romantic ones, emotions are the foundation of intimacy and connection. Emotions such as love, affection, trust, and vulnerability create the deep bonds that sustain relationships over time. When we feel emotionally connected to someone, we are more likely to trust them, share our innermost thoughts, and work through challenges together. Conversely, when negative emotions like anger, resentment, or jealousy dominate, they can create emotional distance, erode trust, and lead to conflict. Emotions act as a barometer for the health of a relationship. When positive emotions flow freely, relationships tend to thrive. But when negative emotions build up without being addressed, they can cause serious harm. Emotional intelligence, the ability to recognize, understand, and manage our emotions and the emotions of others, is a key factor in shaping the quality of our relationships. People who are emotionally intelligent are better equipped to navigate the complexities of relationships because they can empathize with others, regulate their own emotions, and respond to emotional cues in a constructive way. For instance, in a heated argument, someone with high emotional intelligence may recognize their anger and choose to take a moment to calm down before continuing the conversation, preventing the situation from escalating. They may also be able to sense the other person's frustration and respond with empathy, which can diffuse tension and lead to a more productive discussion. In contrast, a lack of emotional intelligence can cause significant strain in relationships. People who struggle to manage their emotions may react impulsively in moments of anger or stress, saying or doing things that hurt others. They may also have difficulty recognizing or acknowledging the emotions of those around them, which can lead to feelings of being misunderstood or unappreciated. This emotional disconnect can create barriers in relationships, as people may feel that their emotional needs are not being met, leading to frustration, resentment, or withdrawal. The inability to effectively manage emotions can also make it challenging to resolve conflicts, as emotions can cloud judgment and lead to defensive or aggressive behaviors rather than open, constructive communication. Emotions also play a pivotal role in conflict resolution within relationships. Conflict is an inevitable part of any relationship, but how we handle it largely depends on our emotional responses. When emotions like anger or frustration are left unchecked, they can fuel the conflict, leading to hurtful words or actions that damage the relationship. However, when we are able to regulate our emotions and approach conflict with empathy and understanding, we can turn disagreements into opportunities for growth and deeper connection. For example, instead of reacting defensively when criticized, someone who is emotionally aware might pause to consider the other person's perspective and respond in a way that fosters understanding rather than escalation. Emotions like empathy and compassion are critical for maintaining strong, supportive relationships. Empathy allows us to step into another person's shoes and understand their feelings, which is essential for building trust and connection. When we empathize with others, We are better able to offer support during difficult times and celebrate their successes with genuine joy. Compassion, which goes beyond empathy, involves a deep care for the well-being of others and a desire to alleviate their suffering. In relationships, showing compassion can strengthen bonds and create a sense of safety, as people feel that they can rely on each other in times of need. Acts of kindness and emotional support not only benefit the recipient, but also foster a sense of fulfillment and emotional closeness in the giver. Emotions can act as powerful motivators in relationships, driving behaviors that either strengthen or weaken the connection. Positive emotions like love, admiration, and gratitude encourage us to invest time and energy into our relationships, making an effort to nurture and sustain them. When we feel appreciated and loved, we are more likely to reciprocate those feelings, creating a positive feedback loop that enhances the relationship. On the other hand, negative emotions such as resentment, disappointment, or fear can lead to withdrawal, avoidance, or even sabotage of the relationship. For instance, someone who feels unappreciated may stop putting effort into the relationship, leading to further emotional distance and dissatisfaction. In family dynamics, emotions play a central role in shaping relationships between parents and children, siblings, and extended family members. Emotional bonds within families are often some of the strongest and most enduring relationships we have, but they can also be fraught with emotional complexity. Family relationships are deeply influenced by emotions like love, loyalty, guilt, and expectation. For example, the way parents express emotions, whether through affection, discipline, or support, profoundly impacts a child's emotional development and their ability to form healthy relationships later in life. Similarly, sibling relationships can be shaped by emotions such as rivalry, jealousy, or deep affection, influencing how siblings interact with each other throughout their lives. In professional relationships, emotions can also have a significant impact, though they may be expressed in different ways. Workplace dynamics are often shaped by emotions such as respect, trust, frustration, or ambition. Positive emotions like mutual respect and camaraderie can lead to productive collaborations and a supportive work environment, while negative emotions like stress, resentment, or envy can create tension and hinder teamwork. Emotional intelligence is just as important in professional settings as it is in personal ones, as the ability to manage emotions can influence leadership, communication, and conflict resolution. Leaders who are emotionally intelligent are often better able to inspire and motivate their teams, as they can connect with people on an emotional level, fostering loyalty and engagement. Emotions shape how we perceive and remember our relationships. Emotional experiences create lasting memories that influence how we view the people in our lives. For example, a single moment of emotional connection, such as a heartfelt conversation or an act of kindness, can strengthen a relationship and leave a lasting positive impression. Conversely, negative emotional experiences, such as a betrayal or an unresolved conflict, can linger in our minds and cast a shadow over the relationship. Our emotional memories shape our expectations and behaviors in future interactions, as we often approach relationships based on past emotional experiences. Emotions are at the heart of all human relationships. They influence how we communicate, connect, resolve conflicts, and support each other, playing a vital role in the quality and longevity of our relationships. By understanding and managing our emotions, we can foster healthier, more fulfilling connections with the people around us. The power of emotions to drive decision-making and behavior is profound, deeply influencing how we interact with the world and the choices we make on a daily basis. While logic and reason certainly play roles in our decisions, emotions often act as the primary catalyst, guiding us toward or away from certain actions based on how we feel. In many ways, emotions are the underlying current that shapes our responses to the challenges and opportunities life presents, motivating us to pursue goals, avoid dangers, or seek comfort and pleasure. Whether we're aware of it or not, emotions govern much of our decision-making process, influencing both small, everyday choices and significant, life-altering decisions. One of the primary ways emotions influence decision-making is through the role of fear. Fear is one of the most powerful emotional drivers, often determining how we approach risks and uncertainties. When faced with a potentially dangerous or threatening situation, fear can trigger a fight or flight response, leading us to either confront the threat or retreat from it. This emotional response is deeply rooted in human evolution, where survival often depended on quick, emotionally driven reactions to danger. Even in modern times, fear continues to shape our decisions, from avoiding public speaking due to anxiety to hesitating to take on new challenges out of a fear of failure. While fear can protect us from harm, it can also hold us back from opportunities for growth and success if it becomes too dominant in our decision-making process. In contrast to fear, emotions like excitement, curiosity, and anticipation can propel us forward, encouraging us to take risks and explore new possibilities. These emotions act as motivators, driving us to pursue goals, try new experiences, or make significant life changes. For instance, the excitement of starting a new job, moving to a new city, or entering a new relationship can outweigh the fear of uncertainty, pushing us to take bold steps toward personal and professional growth. Emotions like hope and optimism can fuel our drive to achieve long-term goals, even when the road is difficult. They help us persist in the face of challenges because we emotionally connect with the potential rewards of our efforts. This positive emotional momentum is a critical factor in sustaining motivation and determination over time. Emotions also play a significant role in shaping our moral and ethical decisions. Feelings such as empathy, guilt, and compassion often guide our behavior when it comes to helping others, making sacrifices, or choosing between right and wrong. Empathy allows us to connect with the emotions of others, leading us to make decisions that prioritize their well-being. For example, someone may choose to donate to charity or volunteer their time because they feel compassion for those in need and want to alleviate their suffering. Guilt, on the other hand, can motivate us to correct our behavior when we feel we've done something wrong. It acts as an emotional feedback mechanism, pushing us to make amends or avoid making the same mistake in the future. These moral emotions shape our sense of responsibility and influence the ethical decisions we make in both personal and societal contexts. In addition to influencing moral behavior, emotions impact how we assess the value of different options and make trade-offs. When faced with a difficult decision, such as choosing between two job offers or deciding whether to invest time and energy into a particular project, emotions help us weigh the pros and cons based on how we feel about the potential outcomes. For instance, someone may choose a job with lower pay but more meaningful work because the emotional fulfillment they expect to gain outweighs the financial trade-off. Similarly, emotions like frustration or impatience can push us to abandon a project or goal if we feel the emotional cost of continuing outweighs the potential benefits. In this way, emotions shape our perception of value and influence the decisions we make when confronted with complex choices. Another important aspect of how emotions drive decision-making is their ability to shape our memories and expectations, which in turn influence future behavior. Emotional experiences, whether positive or negative, leave lasting impressions on our minds. When we make decisions, we often draw on these emotional memories to guide us. For example, if a past decision led to a positive outcome and emotional reward, we may be more likely to make similar choices in the future. Conversely, if a decision resulted in pain, disappointment, or regret, we may avoid repeating that choice. These emotional memories act as reference points, helping us navigate similar situations and influencing our expectations for future outcomes. Emotions also play a crucial role in social decision-making, particularly when it comes to interpersonal relationships. Decisions about how to interact with others, whether to trust someone, or how to resolve conflicts are often driven by emotional factors. For instance, trust in a relationship is built on positive emotional experiences, feelings of safety, support, and understanding. When trust is broken, the negative emotions associated with betrayal, anger, or disappointment can drive decisions to distance oneself from the other person or end the relationship altogether. Similarly, in conflict resolution, emotions like empathy and forgiveness can lead to reconciliation, while resentment and pride can fuel ongoing tension. The emotions we feel toward others, whether positive or negative, profoundly influence the choices we make in social contexts. Emotions can significantly affect how we perceive risks and rewards in decision-making processes. Research has shown that when people are in a positive emotional state, they are more likely to perceive risks as lower and rewards as higher, leading them to make more optimistic and risk-taking decisions. Conversely, when people are in a negative emotional state, such as fear, sadness, or anger, they are more likely to focus on the potential risks and downsides, leading to more conservative or risk-averse choices. For example, someone who feels confident and excited about a new business venture may overlook potential challenges and move forward with the decision, while someone who is anxious or doubtful may focus on the risks and decide against it. This emotional influence on risk perception can have a significant impact on both personal and professional decision making. Emotions can sometimes lead to impulsive decisions, particularly when we are in heightened emotional states. When emotions are intense, whether it's anger, excitement, or frustration, they can override our ability to think rationally and lead to decisions we may later regret. For instance, a person might quit their job in a moment of anger or make a large, unnecessary purchase out of excitement, only to realize later that their decision was driven by temporary emotions rather than long-term thinking. This is why emotional regulation is so important in decision making. Learning to manage and temper our emotional responses allows us to make more thoughtful, deliberate choices rather than being swept away by emotional impulses.